Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, Dr. Brandon Nielsen back. As always, we've got another great question with some wonderful information we want to share.
Yes.
So this one I love. This one is kind of two-parted. How do you stay positive amidst a real epidemic or a natural disaster?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
maybe we should answer that and then we'll go into the second. Well, let me just go ahead and talk about the second part, then we can just flow.
And it kind of answers it.
It
Yeah.
does. So, are there any suggestions of for the most cost-effective food or supplements that you want to have on hand during very tough times of sickness, famine, extreme cold weather, etc.?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the most important things to have? So this is kind of a preparedness, a little bit a way of being a prepper, which I think that has a very positive connotation.
Yeah.
Because this has shown us, like, look at the whole toilet paper thing this past year. Like, everyone went crazy, and I think they just fixated on one thing. It's like, toilet paper.
Yeah.
What if we don't have enough toilet paper? And I think it just became kind of a symbol.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. You better get a bidet. So.
Right. So, how do we stay positive? Or let me just go with this first.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something.
Oh yeah.
We're human beings. We live on the planet.
That's how we grow our trials.
That's right. But there are earthquakes. There are floods. There are fires.
Tornadoes,
There
hurricanes.
there's so the natural disasters, and we're biology. So sometimes viruses go around.
Right.
Sometimes things that we aren't expecting come at us.
And I think the best way, and that's why we're answering it with that other question, is you have to be prepared. I honestly, if you are going to stay positive, it's kind of like we talked in another video. You mentioned the quote from JFK: the time to fix your leaky roof is during the sunny day, right? And I think there's an ease right now, you guys. There's kind of a little bit of an ease in most of the states. In some parts of the world, I don't know exactly, and I'm sure this reaches around the world, but I would say you've got to be prepared. Like, in every aspect, my wife and I are constantly like, okay, what else could we do? But it's gone more now from us. It's kind of like, how can we help our neighbors? What can we do to help others? If this happens, what can we do? We have something that we call preparedness games, okay? And that is, and we need to do it again soon, but I wrote on a scenario and I said, all right, here's the scenario. We have 5 minutes to leave. Preparedness games. And what we did is, and it was kind of funny, but I said, here's the scenario. I said, kids, it's time to get ready. Grab your backpacks, because we have 72-hour kits or 100-hour kits, whatever you call them. We have backpacks. I said, everyone grab their backpacks. I have my front pack. I have my backpack. And we go trudging out, and we hurry and met at a certain location. Okay? And we're about ready to do that again, because right now it's winter, and what are we going to do? So I think the biggest thing is being prepared. You know, maybe we should all do that. I should call you up and be like, Jane, an earthquake just happened in your area down south. Where are you going? You know? And it's going through those scenarios, and you're not going to be able to do them all. And if you have kids, you have to create it as a game. Otherwise, they're freaked out when it really happens. We've already talked to our kids, and they know that at any moment what we might be leaving, you know, meaning just like we might have to go here or we might have to go there. And so my sweet little daughter the other day, she said, now, is this when we're leaving? Are we supposed to be, or is this just we're going somewhere? I was like, oh, sorry, we're just going somewhere. But see, they're prepared, and it's not scary. It's if we have a fire. Oh, all you got to do, it's so much fun. We get to crawl out the windows. It's like, and it becomes something so natural. What was the movie? Was it Life is Beautiful, or remember the concentration camp?
It was such a sad movie.
It is, but remember his son, he didn't even realize they were in a concentration camp because it became a game, preparedness game. So be prepared, you guys. Go through every scenario that you can. It's not to freak out. It's not to say, oh, he's crazy. No. It is that when the time comes, it's like, it's just part of life. No big deal.
Right. And so if you, like you said, a fire, an earthquake, we live in a place here in Salt Lake City where there's a big fault line.
A giant fault line for earthquakes.
Giant fault line. And so it is, I love the fact it's kind of like a preparedness drill.
It is.
And so we both grew up with very similar religious backgrounds.
Yes.
Almost exactly right. Almost exactly the same.
Right.
And there was a big preparedness piece of it where a food supply, water supply, an emergency preparedness kit. And then me, growing up with a dad who was a botanist, we had a whole herbal apothecary backup.
Right. And so that's us too. We've just been we have tons of seeds and we plant and we have so much with plants.
Yes.
And it's kind of like Jane and I have gone up into the mountains. We've identified all these plants and it's like, if we go to the mountains, what plants are we going to eat? What plants are we going to use for medicine? Are you going to use yarrow? Remember yarrow?
Yarrow, yeah.
You know, and so I think it's a sense of preparedness.
Well, and then you can keep it, like you said, you get to, your positive mindset can be present when you're prepared. Like, I know that when I have some of my favorite things like sprouting seeds, to me, I have a huge box of them, and I really do my best to rotate them because I want them to always be
smart,
good.
Fresh and good, yeah.
And then I have, of course, my whole herbal apothecary. I have this little list of things that have a pretty long shelf life, and I do my best to rotate them. But what happens is, because I know I have them, and I also have a bunch of water. So I have these big blue buckets that used to hold alcohol, and I can't get them ananymore. What? I can't get those particular buckets because they come in. They come in cardboard now. But these blue buckets I have, they hold 5 gallons, and they stack in as high as you want to stack them. And I've got them full of water. I probably have about 30 of them that are 5-gallon buckets.
Wow.
So by having this, I don't want to live through a really horrible natural disaster or something that would maybe take my life or my family's life. That would be very difficult. But being prepared simply makes me go through life without fear, zero fear. I have no fear.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting when you get to that point because you just live life. And so, but honestly, it took time to prepare. And one of the things, you guys, it's not like you do it all in 1 week.
No.
This is something, it's almost a lifelong thing that you're building your fortress, seriously, your fortress, and then like your family, kind of the fortress for them, right? And so I would say to our next questions, as far as most cost-effective food or supplements to have on hand during very tough times, go ahead.
Or let me just add one more thing, because I think this goes with it. One of the best things that you can do to stay positive and be prepared for anything that comes at you or anything that sweeps around the world is to take care of your health. I know that if I'm in peak condition and I don't have to worry about medications I need to have, or I have very strong confidence in my immune system and my health that I feel protected. Now, the second piece of that, which I think
I agree with that 100%.
Right, and so check this out. This, to me, I just thought of this while you were talking. Fasting. If you get in the habit and you train your body to do even intermittent fasting, then you're going to be able to handle moments of time where you might not have immediate access to food.
Absolutely.
You might only be able to eat 1 meal a day, or maybe you have to go, there might be a really extreme moment where you go 2 or 3 days without a meal. And those can be really, really hard, but they can even be worse if your body does not know how to fast. And I think that, to me, that's been one of the biggest gifts of doing intermittent fasting, doing some longer fasts, even some things like bone broth fasts, or just different fasting. I would highly recommend that you start experimenting with some of that. If you've got some extreme health conditions, then please do it with some guidance.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to me, it's like, okay, like whenever I fly overseas and I'm on a plane, I never eat on an airplane because I always feel like crap when I land, because you're just sitting there.
Right.
And I've discovered that I get over jet lag super fast. And so I've kind of trained myself to go through these moments and periods of being in a fasted state. And
that's a great idea.
And I feel good. And then I also feel confident, like I'm not going to panic if I have to skip a couple meals. It's not a big deal.
Absolutely, this is great.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so what was the second
question?
piece?
Suggestions for the most cost-effective food or supplements to have on hand during very tough times of sickness, famine, or extreme cold weather.
Sprouting seeds.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, Jane already said it, is water. Honestly, you guys have to have water. I wrote an article a while back. It's like, what good is a water container if you don't have water in it? But water, or the ability to purify your water.
What do you use?
We use the Sawyer filters. My father-in-law is a microbiologist, and so we use I think it's 0.0001. It's something it's not, most people don't go that far. Like Life Straw, it doesn't go that far, but the Sawyer water filter, you can look them up. I don't have any affiliation with them. It's just what we use, and I use it for the virus. They will actually, meaning it can clear viruses out of the water, which is super important. But they will use these in communities in Africa. And the ones that we use, we can either use for self, or you can actually use a gravity feed. And they use it for whole communities, actually, just this little filter. You can actually clean it out as well. So I'd say water, number one, the ability to have water. And then as far as cost-effective foods, we do a lot of our own food. We prepare a lot of our own food. I love freeze-dried food as well. It's, as far as lightweight, cost-effective. If you're preparing it yourself, you save a ton of money, and we have a lot of fun with it. I don't know what you guys do, but we do a lot of our own.
Do you like canning, you mean?
Yeah, we do a lot of canning. We're kind of old-fashioned.
No, I love that.
No, but we love it. I mean, we can. You can also do your own freeze-dried. You can look up Harvest Right and do your own freeze-drying at home and creating they can be expensive, that freeze-dried meal, but you can do whole meals with that.
And then the sprouting seeds.
Sprouting seeds, you guys.
It's easy. The shelf life is long.
I use Mountain Valley Seed Company. I don't know what their name is. That's one of their seeds, but Mountain Valley Seed Company here in Salt Lake, they have a whole line of sprouting seeds. I don't know if you've ever used them.
The one I use is called True Leaf.
Oh, that's the company, Mountain Valley Seed Company. It's True Leaf. It's the same.
It's the same.
They're right here in Salt Lake. They're phenomenal. They have all your sproutings, organic sproutings, phenomenal for sprouting.
And then seeds, like you mentioned earlier, like seeds to plant for.
And they have seeds for planting.
To grow your own food. That's the best thing, is be prepared with seeds.
Yeah, right? so we use it, and you have to rotate seeds. We always do something called functional food storage, and this is a question we could spend hours and do courses on. But we use our food storage. We actually eat our food storage, and we get new. A lot of people will just keep it on their shelves forever, and there's some that we do, but a lot of it we will still use, even the stuff that lasts long, and we keep it fresh.
So you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
So when we were growing up,
I think I know what it is.
My grandma was a big food storage person, and she kind of over prepared, and she had cans and cans and cans and cans. Her biggest thing was cans.
Oh,
cans
really?
Of everything. Cans of all the vegetables, like corn and beans and peas.
Green beans.
Yeah,
and those are classic.
Soups and chilies and everything, you named it.
Yeah.
So when they would expire, because I'm one of 14 kids,
she would give them to you guys.
we would get all her expired stuff.
Nice. Thanks, Grandma.
We would still eat them unless they were bulging. If they
totally
were
fine.
So we learned, like, if the top of the can pops and bulges,
don't eat
then we're not going to eat it. So if it's expired but it's not popping or bulging, so we ate a lot of canned foods because my grandma never rotated her stuff. So yes, that is such a good tip, because if you have food supply, you want to make sure that it's something in a time of a disaster or a time of disruption of food supply, if that was ever something. You want to make sure that it's actually food that you can eat, and it will.
Yeah, food that you eat, not just. And that's one of the cool things that you can do with freeze-dried food, is you can full-on prepare or take some soup, freeze-dry it, and then all you have to do to reconstitute it is just add water. So I'm really liking the freeze-dried. The reason why I use it for camping and hunting, those type of things, because it's so light, and all you have to do is add water or get water from a stream through that, what I was talking about.
Perfect.
As far as supplements, really quickly. What do you guys have? I use Silver. I definitely would highly recommend either like an LDM or a Immunity Boost, something with LDM. And then as far as something with a salve, like a golden salve, natural, something that you can do cuts with.
Something for a wound, yeah.
Yep. I usually do some type of a homeopathic, like an Arnica montana, Leadum for stings. What else do I do that I find out? Some of the first aid. I might do something usually for some type of an upset stomach, which I'd use LDM as well for that. That's one of the best that you can have, honestly.
Yeah.
It's, what else would you recommend?
Well, I would say things like a cayenne pepper.
Ooh, cayenne pepper, excellent, just for stopping bleeding.
Yep.
Which
and
is so people don't understand that, but to stop bleeding or a heart attack or a
Right,
stroke,
exactly.
cayenne is phenomenal. Jane's cayenne, amazing.
Yeah, and the shelf life is long on a tincture, and also
like
I would
10 or forever.
as long
10 years. I
as
know
long as
it's
you
not
have
gonna
it.
go bad.
No, and then I think the final thing that I would make sure is something like Clarkia, because that's anti-parasite. If you have water that maybe has some parasites
or something, yeah.
It's nice to have, you know, and also things
if though you can't carry, I would still have LDM and I would treat a parasite with LDM, and it works great with that. But Clarkia, great. Oh, one other thing is Dr. Nielsen's medical mud.
What is that?
And I use it topically, but everything stings, bug bites.
Is that just mud?
It's mud. It's a calcium bentonite. It's a pure calcium bentonite.
It's actually something you have. No.
You didn't get one at the seminar?
No.
I'm sorry.
Because I didn't stay long enough.
Oh, I use tea tree oil. I always put that in first aid kit too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I know, we put that in the salve.
We put that in the salve.
Wow, did we just go through a ton of stuff?
Yeah, we did. I hope this was helpful.
Just review really quickly though the supplements again. You would definitely put LDM, Unity Boost, Clarkia, and then Cayenne. Completely agree with those, you guys.
And then a salve, something for the skin, something to help a skin wound.
Yes. Yeah. And I would definitely, go ahead.
Sorry. No, just something that would help with an infection on a skin wound.
Yes. And I always do, I would definitely, topical, I would definitely have silver. I use it internal, external all the time. I would have like some type of form of a calcium bentonite clay. And then I would do some type of like a melaleuca oil. And then as far as I might do some homeopathics for scrapes or puncture wounds like bites, which would be like Arnica montana, maybe like a ledum. And then something for stomach, I might use something like a Nux vomica, or for throwing up,
I would use, just say?
Sorry.
What?
Nux vomica is a homeopathic. And then the other one I would recommend is Arsenicum album. Okay. Those are great as well for diarrhea. Those are some of the ones that most common that I want to have and need to have right then. I'm trying to think what else I carry.
So I wouldn't get overwhelmed. Write down this stuff, rewatch some of this stuff. We'll try to put some stuff in the show notes here below this.
And if you don't understand, ask us.
Well, and here's the deal too. All of my videos, all these videos are closed captioned. So if you need to, and they're closed captioned by hand.
They can actually understand me?
Well, we have to rewind a couple times sometimes.
Sorry. I didn't know you guys were doing closed captioning.
Always. So you can turn on the closed caption and you can watch exactly what he's saying.
You're really nice.
Or what I'm saying. Actually, Brian does it.
That is so nice. Thank you.
Sometimes so if you got to the end of this, I always give you kudos, and we always get to be extra goofy here because most people don't get to the end of a video. But we close caption it.
That's nice.
But
here, that is so nice, you guys. It is
good, right? So here's the thing. Don't be overwhelmed by this list of stuff that we're throwing out there. Yeah. This is kind of like, my life, your life.
Yeah.
For years, this is, and we know this, we have this. There's a lot of other things I could probably use help with.
Oh, yeah.
But write down a list and then just one at a time, tick it off. And it's being prepared slowly, but with purpose. Do it with purpose. And then
do a course sometime or something. Okay. Like for your people, or I mean, because there's so much stuff. Like as you're saying stuff, I'm like, man, I would have soap in there, and I would have this, and I would have.
Hey,
I should like open up my.
We should do a prepper course on how to prepare.
Well, like even if we just did the supplements, like what would you do? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a combine, and we just show them, and they can just like buy that for simplicity. I don't know. We're just trying to help you guys because we love you.
It's true. Well, thanks for watching, guys. This went almost 20 minutes, so we're grateful if you made it to the end. And yay, they made it to the end. Yes. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and we'd love to hear any comments that you might have. So take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.